My website at annspaperworks.com. Today this is number 7 in the series Stamping in the Raw, uncut, unedited and unscripted Facebook Live. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this super cute Silver Mini Gable box and decorate it with the stamp from the Panda Stamp Set. But the feature of today that I'm going to spend a little bit of time on is showing you how to make a rosette. They're super easy and they always make any project look so rich and like you've spent a lot of time on it. But in reality, it's a pretty easy project. There's just a little bit of fiddling with it, and sometimes you've got to hold your mouth just right to get it to happen really quickly. But it's easy and you'll have no trouble with it at all. Now, I want to show you how the Silver Gable boxes come together. So they arrive flat like this. There's 12 in a pack, only $14 for the 12 of them. So that's about $1.30 each one. Now, I have to say, for the amount of time that these save me, it's pretty easy. So I always put this side in first. Whoops. Then I put the two little side tags in, and then this one just goes in. Put my hand in here, and I just straighten out. So that's how easy it is. Then these, now I do try and reinforce those folds just a little bit. And then this sits. Having trouble with this one, never do, but you can always guarantee that when you're doing a live video you're going to have some trouble. I don't know why that is. Anyway, here we go. Now it's right. So that's how easy they come together. I made that look particularly hard. Normally it takes me about 2 secs. I made about 14 of these on the weekend, and they took about 10 minutes all up. So that's how simple it is. But I'm going to show you how to make this one. Now, the feature that I'm going to be spending a little bit of time on is this rosette. Now, I can already see, because this is that magic of live Facebook, is if there's going to be something that goes wrong, it's going to go wrong. Now, this piece here is a 12-inch long strip, so it's this long. What I have done is scored it with the Simply Scored tool. So really it starts out like that, so the full 12 inches. And then I've just got this little tool here, and I've scored every 1/4 of an inch along there. And then, to make it easier, I did this before, I have just folded it like a concertina. I'll just get rid of this so I've got a bit of room to move. Now, with that scoreboard, if I was making lots of these, which I did on the weekend, I would leave the paper whole. I wouldn't cut it into the 1 inch that this one is. If I was doing 12 of them, I'd leave it 12 by 12. I'd score all the way down. And then cut my 1 inch strips, which makes it super quick. So I've made this a concertina. As you see, I did a little bit of work before I came on air to make sure that it would be easy. Don't worry about that. All you have to do is reinforce these folds with your fingers. So once it looks like that, it's pretty simple. You're going to fold this around, and you've got a little mountain there, and you've got a little mountain there, and you're going to slide that one mountain inside of the other mountain, if you can see that. Now, you can adhere this a number of different ways. Now, I want the green stripe on the outside, but if you wanted this pretty pattern, and they're both as from the Sweet Soiree DSP, you would just do it a different way, and you'd be going valley to valley. But I'm going mountain to mountain, so that's okay. Now, there's a couple of ways I would do this, but I'm going to do it the easiest. I hope it's going to be the easiest. I'm going to be using some of our multi-purpose adhesive, and I'm just going to Oh, it's already running out. That's because I store it upside down, so the glue is always ready to run. So I always got it like this. I don't know if you saw that little, if you can see this little flash holder I made. And see that? So it always means that my adhesive is standing up, and it's got some glue dots and it's got some dimensionals in there. I find that really handy to leave in this room. Now I'm going to let this dry just like that. So I'll put a bit of pressure on. I put a little bit too much glue on there, but that won't matter. Stick together. I'll hold it together. And I've punched out 2 1-inch circles, and you'll see what I'm going to do with them in a second. Now I did have the hot glue gun all ready to go, but I turned it on to heat it up obviously a little early, and it's already gone flat. I want to curse it, but I'll give that a go just in case it does still work, even though it looks like it's flat. So now what I'm going to do is I want to put this on the first circle on the back. So I'm just going to flip this out, and then there's a few ways you can do this, but see how I've just squashed that down. So really I just pushed it and squashed it down, and I want to make that center circle, that center hole, as small as I possibly can, and then these as even. Doesn't really matter, no it doesn't, but I'll do the best I can. So I'm going to, of course, no glue comes out. But don't you love live demonstrations? I could curse them some days. This is one of those days. So I'm just going to put some more multi-purpose glue on here. I'll just check who's dropping in while I'm holding this down, and I'm going to hold that on and let that dry. Now I'm going to keep my fingers on the outside now for that. So I hope you're all having a bit of a smile at how difficult I'm actually making this. I'm just going, righto, so I'm going to turn this over, and in that that couple of minutes that I had, I then went and got the heavy duty glue gun. I think I could build a house with this one, so it'll be a little easier to use. It's actually corded, so I'm going to put this on top, hold that down there. Because it's a hot glue gun, it will set really quickly. I'm just going to tell you about the Party Pandas. It's one of the Sale-a-Bration stamp sets. So with every $90 spent, you can actually get one of the stamp sets or any of the products from the Sale-a-Bration Catalogue for free. So this is the Party Pandas. It's got these cute little images, and I love this one in particular. It's the one I've used the most. I actually decorate my envelopes as well for that. It's full of products. This is a level 1 product, and there's a couple of level 2 which you'll go with any $180 spent. Those 2 products, there's only 2 in the catalogue, and that's the Thinlits and also the Happy Wishes. So I've got my rosette completed, despite a few difficulties there. I obviously wasn't holding my mouth correct, as I said I would need to. So there's my rosette. That's the wrong side. Doesn't matter how your wrong side looks. Restamp. There's my little panda that I'm going to use, but I'm just going to show you how I stamped him. Simple as. Now I'm using Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I've just re-inked it because I find that if you want this ink to be really strong black colour, you've got to keep re-inking on a regular basis. It's not like some of our others, and it's a linen pad, so I can press a little harder than I normally would, and then I'm just going to press down, and as I always say, count to 3, 1, 2, 3, and there he is. And as you see, he's got lots and lots of colour, and looks really good. Now I'm not going to actually use him because I've already pre-cut one, but if you can see this one here, I've actually cut his arms off. Now I've got to say, no pandas were harmed in this project. and hopefully they won't be on this one either. I'm going to cut around his arms there so he can hold that gorgeous heart. Mind you, that arm pops up. I'll do the same to this one, so I'm just cutting around his arms so he can hold this gorgeous berry burst heart. So there we go. Now we're going to stamp this heart in berry burst. Now I'm using a photopolymer stamp, and as you see it stains a little bit, but it doesn't hurt the stamp in any way. Now, but I want to make sure there's plenty of ink on this because I want nice depth of colour, but I'm not pressing hard. I'm just tapping on the surface till I'm happy with how much ink is on there. I'm going to stamp it. I'm going to use that other finger to make sure I get a fair bit of pressure. Now, because I know what will happen if I don't close this up, I'll throw some project into it. I'll get that out of the way now. So I need to fussy cut this as heart, looking gorgeous. Now I'll show you how I've wrapped the DSP and also the ribbon around. Now I've completely used all my berry burst 3/8 of an inch metallic edged ribbon. It was so popular that it's already gone, but I do have some more berry burst ribbon here, which is the finely woven one from the annual catalogue. Now it's pretty easy to wrap these boxes, but there are a few little tricks that I'd like to share with you. Now I always use snail for when I'm putting the first layer around because I can reposition it. And so I'm just putting, I'm not going right to the end. Now this box is slightly larger than 12 inches, so there's going to be a gap here. But that doesn't worry me because I've got the little rosette to cover that space. So I'm just putting that strip in the middle because I've got snail, it'll stick in the right way. Now I just roll it around. The snail keeps it in place a little bit, but if anything goes wrong I can pick it up. And then I reinforce these corners so it gives a nice finish. As you saw, I just re-picked that up. And then I want this to join here. Now I didn't put any snail on there, but I'm going to put some double-sided tape there. Hi Sue, good to see you here as well. Now, so I've got that like that, so it's pretty simple. I'm just going to pull that out. That's a bit of some of the new stuffing from Sweet Soiree that you can put in the box and then put a nice little gift on top. It's gorgeous. It's like shredded foil and paper in the berry burst. Now this is the really pretty ribbon, and this is the last piece that I've got back, but I'm going to use the finely woven ribbon. I've got to make sure that I've picked the long one. This is the long one. Now I'm going to use some of that double-sided adhesive tape, the tear and tape, and it's called tear and tape because you don't actually need scissors to. I'm trying to do this a little quick than I need to. It'll be okay. So I'm just sticking this down. I don't want it to be creased in any way, so I need to get it nice and smooth. So I'll just go in little bits. Then I'll tear that off and see how easy that was. And I'll get it nice and straight. Now this will just sit. As you see, it was a lot easier that time. Over the center. Remember, you won't ever get to see this join. And then I just wrap it around here, keeping it in the center. That tear and tape makes sure that it doesn't move at all. And then I've got a little overlap. I don't want all of that overlap because I don't want any of it showing, but there's a little overlap there. And then I'm going to stick the rosette on. I'm going to use glue dots because I find them the easiest to use. Other than tonight. I'll put a few on. Now I've got to make sure that when I'm putting on this rosette that it doesn't hang over here, because otherwise the box won't sit straight. So I'll put him up like that, so he only just touches there, and I make sure that the join that I used before, that I had when I joined that circle, sits like that, and he'll stay on with those glue dots. Now I don't know whether you noticed, but I didn't actually I took the project to the glue dots, because then I don't have my fingers on there taking some of the adhesive away. That'll be nice and strong. Then I'm going to stick my little panda on, and because I've got my glue dots here, I'll use some for that as well. Won't need many. I might just put one more over there. I'll stick him down there. Then I'm going to slide the little heart down. Now I want to make a little bit bigger. Oh, I don't want to hurt his arms, but we'll just make them a little bit more flexible than they are. I still promise you the panda's not being harmed in any way. And then I will get a couple more glue dots to put him in. Not that it necessarily needs them, but just in case he's going to fall out, we're going to slide him in there. So isn't he cute? Now I've just got to tie a bow. Now if I was a chicken, I would have tied it before tonight and already had it tied, but I always say that bows are not difficult, it's the amount of work that you do afterwards. I use the bunny ears method, but you don't have to. It's always about the work you do after you tie the bow. So you do a bit of fiddling, and after tonight's effort, that's not a bad bow. I've got some ribbon scissors here that I use. I'll just trim those at a little bit of an angle. Might have to just trim that up a bit. I'll pull that bow through a little bit. Always make sure that you pull the ties really tight. Minutes to get a good looking bow, but it's not going to be too bad tonight, as I said. And I'm just going to stick him up there. I'll trim that off a bit. Going to use some more glue dots. To make sure that bow sits on. And it's super cute. So there's my decorated Silver Mini Gable Box, and I just think that's a lovely project. Can't wait to put perhaps a gift card in there, or some jewellery, or any really small gift, but they're quite large. As you see, they're about 4 inches long and 2 inches wide, probably just a little under that. I know, so there's that project. Now I do have a bit of other news for you. I spoke to you last week about doing swatch books, and swatch books are perfect if you're an avid stamper, crafter, or even if you're a demonstrator, because these are the 8 papers out of the Occasions Catalogue, so they're brand new. Picture Perfect Party Designer Series paper, Petal Passion, True Gentleman, Sweet Soiree, Miss and Magic, as you know, one of my favourites, Tutti Frutti, and also some of the glimmer paper. Now I've collated these, and on the back you have the colours that they coordinate with, which makes it so easy, and that's one of the features of Stampin' Up papers, is the whole range actually works. So there's the swatch books. Now you get the full series of these for $18. So every paper in that set is included. They're easy to flip through. It's a great way to find out what papers you've got, what matches with what, especially with the colour code on the back, and you get the bonus bubbles and fizz from the Sale-a-Bration. So if you are interested in ordering swatch books for me, I've got a couple of sets left at the moment before I do my next round. Just message me if you're at all interested. It'll only be $2.40 postage anywhere in Australia. Now next week, not sure what my topic will be, but it's going to be another project. Fairly simple project, one that you can replicate really simply. Available from my online store, which the link is at www.anspaperworks.com.au. You can shop with me if you live in Australia. Thank you so much for dropping by. I hope you've had a good night. You've learned how to make rosettes and seen how easy they are, despite the little hiccup with that glue gun. Have a good week. I'm actually going to do a couple of really small Facebook Lives to show. I'm also doing product shares, and I will show you how they work and why they're such a good deal and such value. So thanks everybody. Have a good night. Have a good week. Happy crafting.